just in case my battery goes low. I don't have to move, I really don't have to scamper up and down trying to find a power source. Oh, Jesus. So, yes, I am here. So, we're looking at government and hopefully we can touch human resources. But I'm going to go slowly with government so that you guys can get it, because government is the second most difficult topic in social studies, second only to regional integration. Regional integration is usually the most difficult because it's a lot of information to digest, plus it contains a lot of technical terms. So on Thursday, God's willing, we are going to have another live on regional integration, but I'm not going to be the one teaching that regional integration because of a colleague who has greater authority on the topic than me. She's really good when it comes to regional integration, and I have to give her props. So on Thursday at 4 o'clock, hopefully we can come on the live again and we can either give her the password to the page or I can like call her or something. One of you young persons have to show me how to, like, when people call and two persons can be on the screen. Right, somebody have to show me how to do that. Let me know if you guys are actually hearing. I need to know if you guys are actually hearing. Oh, alright, well, yeah, persons are saying that they are hearing. That's very good. I'm giving persons about 2 to 3 more minutes to come on, and then we can begin. Alright, we are ready? So, we're looking at government. Can anybody say what they think a government is? Anybody? What do you think a government is? Yeah, waiting for you guys to tell me what you think a government is. You can just type in something quickly, you know. Yes, I'm going to save the live because actually Saini taught me how to save the live. So the live was saved on Sunday and it was up for 24 hours, I believe. A group of people that can enforce rules. Yes, Omar. That's good. A body of people and institutions making and enforcing laws. Yes. A group of people that governs a country. Yes, Gabby, but I don't like the word govern in defining government. You understand? I want you to substitute the word govern for something else. A body of people that enforce the law. A body of people that lead and enforce laws within a country. Most of the definitions that I'm getting are limited to laws. But remember that a government is bigger than just creating and enforcing laws, you know. A government is a group of persons responsible for the running and organization of a country. Yes, Armani. So Armani has given the most complete definition, right? Armani, yes, that's a very good definition. Armani, you sound like you're out to get the distinction in social studies, man. That's very good. Alright, Jenai says a group of individuals working together to govern a country. I still don't like the word govern in defining government. Substitute govern for something else. A body that enforces laws. Do not limit a definition to laws only. Group of people making decisions for a country. Alright, that can work as well. A group of officials who enforce a country's authority, etc. You dare not write etc. in CSEC. You hear that, the crazy girl? You need to write what you mean. The only time you don't say what you mean is if they ask you to list. An agency or body with the authority to control and direct the affairs of a country. Yes, just Becca. That is an even better definition than what Armani. Let me not say better because I don't want you guys to compare, but that's a more complete definition for government. Right? So basically, yes, most of you guys would generally have an idea. So it's a group of people who are put in charge of directing the affairs of a country. That's very good. So there are several types of government systems that existed in the Caribbean and still exist, right? There was first the Crown Colony. That was when we were under European rule. Well, we're looking at British Caribbean now because you know you have British Caribbean, French Caribbean, Spanish Caribbean, the Dutch Caribbean. But we're focusing on the British Caribbean for social studies. Great. So there was a Crown Colony where the Crown was in charge of colony. Colony was because we don't have colonies anymore because we in Jamaica we are an independent state, right? So the Crown was in charge of the affairs of each country. But after the Morant Bay Rebellion in Jamaica, I think that was in the 1800s, I think it was 1865. Yes, the Morant Bay Rebellion with Paul Bogle, them Atted Manda and George William Gordon. Yes, and Governor Eyre or Governor Eyre, whichever way you guys want to pronounce it. Because of that and the people were unhappy with his rule. You know, they walked to Spanish Town, they did not see Paul Bogle, then they went back to Morant Bay and the Morant Bay Rebellion. After that, the government system was changed to, it was the old representative system first, then it was changed to Crown Colony, right, where the Queen had direct rule over the colony. Good. Some persons wanted their independence, right, because they were tired of British rule. Yeah, them tired of the Crown interfering in them business because they were saying that the Queen didn't live in the colonies. So how the Queen must stay in England and tell them exactly what they wanted to do, what they were supposed to do. So they moved from Crown Colony to what we call constitutional monarchy. That is the type of government system that we have in Jamaica, right? Constitution is a document that has all the rules and responsibilities for its citizen and how to govern the country. You understand? But with constitutional monarchy now, we still have a head of state. So the Queen in England, that is Queen Elizabeth, she is still the head of state. However, she cannot be in the colonies at once. Therefore, she has a representative called a Governor General. So our Governor General, I think his name is Patrick Allen, right? He represents the Queen, and the Governor General is head of state on paper, right? His powers are limited and mainly ceremonial, right? So even though he is head of state, he cannot actually tell the Prime Minister what to do. Because you know we have a Prime Minister in Jamaica, right? Under constitutional monarchy, the Prime Minister has full executive authority, right? But the Governor General is only head of state on paper. Great. The Prime Minister has a cabinet that supports him. Good. When you look at the arms of government, we're going to go into this in greater details. Good. Then now we have some countries that say, we are tired of British rule completely. We're not even keeping any head of state. We want to govern our affairs all on our own. So that's a type of government system that we call republicanism. Understand? This is where them abolish the head of state. So them now have no Governor General. Them now have no Queen that interferes into their affairs. Good? So we call them republics or republicanism. However, there are two types of republics. Good? There's a presidential republic that runs on a presidential system. Good? So full executive authority is with the president. So in a presidential republic, the president functions like a prime minister. Just like our prime minister, the most honorable Andrew Holness, right? No, Trinidad and Tobago doesn't have a presidential republic. Trinidad and Tobago has another type of republic that we'll soon touch on. So the presidential republic is where there is a president. There is no prime minister, but there is a president that has full executive authority. So instead of referring to him like what we refer to in Jamaica to say Prime Minister Andrew Holness, they'll say President John Brown. A country like, I think an example of the presidential republic is in Guyana, right? Guyana has a presidential republic. Please note that there are two Guyanas. There's French Guyana and then there's British Guyana. Remember we said earlier that we are talking about former British colonies. Good. Then now there is a parliamentary republic that is in Trinidad and Tobago and another country. I think it is Dominica. Right? Yes, Trinidad has a prime minister. Under the parliamentary republic, there is a president that functions just like a governor general. So there's no monarch that is in a parliamentary republic. So there's a president that functions like a prime minister. Then there's a prime minister that has full executive authority. So under the parliamentary republic now, the president's role is ceremonial and he has limited power. Function just like a governor general. Great. Now, let us look at the structure of government now under the constitutional monarchy. Remember that? Constitution, book of laws. Monarchy, meaning royal power. Good. In Jamaica, remember we said that we are a constitutional monarchy, though our prime minister has full executive authority. The governor general is head of state, right? So, under the structure of government, we have three arms. We have the legislature, we have the judiciary, and we also have the executive. So, the legislature now is the arm of government that is responsible for creating laws, getting rid of old laws, and also amending laws. So, the legislature is the law-making arm of the government. Catch that? The legislature is the law-making arm of the government. Good. So the legislature is made up of two groups of people. You have the upper house, which is called the Senate, and then you have the lower house, which is called the House of Representatives. Good. Both the upper house and the lower house both sit in Parliament. Great. The house, all the persons who are in the House of Representatives, they are elected members, meaning when you reach 18 and you go register to vote and you can vote, all the voters vote for those who are in the House of Representatives. Good. The Senate or the upper house, they are appointed members. Good. There are 13 senators on the side of the government and 8 on the side of the opposition for a total of 21. Let's go again. So the legislature is the law-making arm of the government. Good. So they create new laws. Right? They amend existing laws, meaning that they can change it. They can add things to it or they can take away things. Then they can also get rid of laws, like they can get rid of a law off of the book which serves no purpose. Great. They are made up of two groups of people. The upper house, also called the Senate, which has 21 members, 13 for the government, 8 for the opposition. They also have the lower house, also called the House of Representatives, and we know there are 63 elected members in Jamaica, right? We'll call them members of parliament. They both sit in Garden House. Are we clear? Somebody is saying that I am to slow down. Yes. No, Darian, not 13 in the upper and 8 in the lower. The upper house, also called the Senate, has 21 members. 13 for the government, 8 for the opposition. That is the upper house or the Senate. Then there is the lower house. Great. The lower house or the House of Representatives consists of 63 elected members of parliament that are voted in by voters from various constituencies. Yes, I am going to save the life. As I said, government is very, very, very difficult. But if you just listen and mezzo and do your own reading as well, you will be able to understand it. Right? Let's go again. The legislature is the law-making arm of the government. Good. Laws like if you kill somebody, you're going to get jail. You don't have to thief people things. Right? You don't have to rape nobody. Good. You don't have to swindle nobody out of their money. Those kinds of laws. Right? Any law, it comes out of the legislature. Good. The legislative arm of the government has two groups. The upper house, also called the Senate, consists of 21 appointed members, 13 for the government, 8 on the side of the opposition. Good. Then the next group in the legislature is called the House of Representatives, which contains all 63 elected members of parliament that are voted in by the voters. Both the upper and lower house, they sit in parliament. Parliament downtown, Garden House, that's so them sit, but they sit in there on different days. So people like Pernell Charles, Andrew Holness, Dr. Peter Phillips, Mark Golding, Shaini Robinson, Lisa Anna, Dr. Dayton Campbell, all those persons sit in the House of Representatives because they are elected members of parliament. In the Senate now, you have Lambert Brown, right? Him is the kind of fat man and he's kind of old, right? Or there's this blind senator. Oh Jesus, I don't even remember his name. Great. Are we understanding? I think Damian Crawford is also a senator as well, right? Somebody's telling me to to calm down. Somebody's asking who appoints senators. The Prime Minister recommends is 13, and the Leader of the Opposition recommends is 8. All 21 members are appointed by the Governor General. That is one of the responsibilities of the Governor General. He appoints the Prime Minister, he appoints the Leader of the Opposition, he appoints the senators, right? But the only difference is that his power is ceremonial. So he cannot block the Prime Minister by saying, I don't want this Prime Minister. Yes, Floyd Green. No, Floyd Green is not a senator. Floyd Green is a member of parliament. He used to be a senator though. Right? Great. You don't even know those people you are calling out. No, Armani, I'm just say I get the one I know. We are saying I know the people I may call out. You need to be familiar with the government system that is in your country. That is why government here. Floyd Morris is the blind senator, right? You need to be familiar with the government system that is in your country, and then it will be easier to understand. Great, so that is the legislature. That is one arm of government, right? Then the next arm of government is the executive. Good? The executive is the policy-making arm of the government. This one is easy. A policy is a plan of action that the government hopes to achieve. Like, for example, if the government says that they're going to build 5 more schools, that's a policy. If they're going to fix roads, that's a policy. If they're going to give young people employment by being specific, like creating a industrial zone, right? That is a policy. Like the other day when what's the minister again? Dr. Nigel Clark, right? The Minister of Finance, when he says that he was going to reduce GCT from 17.5% to 16%. So there was a 1.5% reduction. That was a policy. Great. Are we understanding? No, you don't really need to know them for CSEC sake, you know. But it would be beneficial for you to know the persons in the legislature so it can be easily understood when you are studying government. Understand? So now, so the executive is the policy making arm of the government. Good? So another name for the executive. Can anybody tell me another name for the executive? Can anybody tell me another name for the executive? Oh, yes, I have that kind of issue. I talk very fast. Alright, I'm going to try to slow down as much as possible because we're going almost 25 minutes already. I'm just the one arm of the government. Making of the government. Yes, British. Boy, sometimes I have some name. On the Instagram name, I can't even follow. So Sharmila22 says the cabinet. Yes, so another name for the executive is the cabinet. Yes, and the cabinet consists of the Prime Minister and all the other cabinet members. Great. It is to note that the executive comes out of the legislature. So because the executive is the policy-making arm of the government, only government members sit in the executive or in the cabinet. Please note that. Only government members sit in the executive. Good. So the Prime Minister's role as head of cabinet, or he heads the executive, good, is to appoint cabinet members. The Prime Minister, according to the Constitution, has the liberty to take as many members out of the House of Representatives to be a part of his cabinet. There's no limit. He can take as much members, right? Remember, we said that the House of Representatives are members of Parliament. Good, so he can take as many members out of it as possible. However, the law limits the amount of persons that he can take out of the Senate. So he can take up to 4 members out of the Senate to be a part of the cabinet. Remember, we say the cabinet only consists of government members. Great? So you can take up to 4. So examples of persons who are senators but cabinet members, like Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, that pretty brown lady with a low cut hair. She is the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade, right? She is a senator. Great. So you can take up to 4 members out of the Senate to be a part of the cabinet. So the cabinet consists of the cabinet, hold on, is the opposition leader a part of the cabinet? No, the opposition leader is not a part of the cabinet. Remember, we say only government members can be a part of the cabinet, right? The cabinet members now are ministers with or without portfolio. We also have junior ministers and ministers of state. So a portfolio is a particular responsibility. So like Minister of Finance, that's a portfolio. Minister of Education, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Minister of Youth and Culture, Minister of Information, right? Those are portfolios. Then now we can have ministers without portfolio, like the Honorable Darrell Vaz. He's a minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister. So he has no specific responsibility, but whatever responsibility that the Prime Minister gives him, then he carries out that responsibility. Then now those ministers have junior ministers and ministers of state that assist them. Then now we have permanent secretaries that head the ministry beneath the ministers. Good. Then we have the civil service. Those are persons who work directly for the government. Good. And local government is also a part of the executive. Those are like the councillors in your areas, right? Smaller posts than members of parliament. Great. Are you guys understanding so far? So the legislature, the lawmaking arm of the government. Out of the legislature comes the executive, with only government members that makes policy for the country. Good. Out of the executive forms the cabinet with the Prime Minister and his ministers with specific responsibilities. Are we clear, ladies and gentlemen? Are we clear? Are we clear? We're clear. Good. Alright. So now we looked at 2 arms of the government. Good. Legislature, the executive. There's a term that is called separation of powers. If we were paying keen attention, we would have noticed that the government is in charge. The government and opposition is in charge of the legislature. The government is in charge of the executive. So we have a term called separation of powers, right? Because in a country we cannot have the same set of people who make the laws also interpret or enforce the laws as well. Have a problem. Because imagine if you in charge of making laws of a country, right? You are going to make the law so you can go to prison, right? Or even if the law is created and then after a certain time you break the law. If you are the one interpreting the law or enforcing the law, you're not going to send yourself or your family to prison, right? So to guard against that now, we have a term that is called separation of power. So with the third arm of government, which is the judiciary, right? Government members are not allowed to be a part of the judiciary because the judiciary is responsible for interpreting the laws, right? Old books will say enforce, but remember that when you go to court, it's not whether you are innocent or guilty, but it is what can be proven. So older books will say enforce the laws, but we no longer say enforce laws. We say interpret the law because it is what you can prove. Good? So let's recap. 3 arms of government: legislature, the lawmaking arm of the government. Good. Then we have the judiciary. Then we have the executive, policy making arm of the government that comes out of the legislature. Then we separate those two, and we have these two, judiciary and executive over here, so executive and legislature over here, so then we have judiciary right here. So good. So you see my big head in the middle, that is separation of powers, because we cannot have government members in the judiciary. Following? Let's person say I am going too fast. Let's go again. 3 arms of government. Watch this. Legislature, the lawmaking arm of the government. Then we have the executive, responsible for making policy, which is a plan of action. Then you see this index finger separating these two, that is separation of powers, because we cannot have government members being in the judiciary, because the judiciary interprets the law that the legislature makes. Following? Do you guys get that as yet? Somebody said me deserve a speeding ticket. So the judiciary interprets the law. So the judiciary now consists of all the courts, the police, the lawyers, and the persons who work inside of the courts. Good? We have a set of courts. Good? Down here, so we have petty sessions court. Those deal with crimes that are not so serious. Great, like if you go over somebody's house and but thief them aki, something like that would be petty. Or if somebody probably a lick down one manga and the stone catch you and conk you in your head, something petty like that. Or if you are war over who thief your pen, something petty like that, those will go in the petty sessions court. Good. Then we have the magistrates court that deals with some cases that are a little bit more serious. Great. So those, you go to the petty sessions court, like gun court, family court, traffic court, those kinds of things go to the magistrates. Then above the magistrates now, we have the Supreme or High Court. Those deals with serious crimes, some violent and also civil cases, like things like slander, like if somebody says something bad about you that cannot be proven, right, them slander your name. Good. Civil matters, or if you're suing somebody for some money, like them cheat you out on some deal, those are civil cases. So cases like that, some murder, some vicious rape, like when them firebomb people house and kill them, those kinds of cases go to the Supreme or High Court. Good. So the Supreme or High Court deals with very serious cases. Good. Then the highest court that we have in Jamaica is called the Court of Appeal, right? That court is downtown, just like the Supreme Court too. Downtown on King Street, where the mad people them always there, right? Down there is the Supreme Court and also the Court of Appeal. So the Court of Appeal is the highest court in Jamaica. Let me plug in this phone. Right. So the Court of Appeal is the highest court in Jamaica. Great. Then now, listen to this closely, students. I want you to stop what you are doing. Stop what you are doing and listen to this closely, because this is technical. Yeah? So now, remember earlier when we looked at the government systems, right? In Jamaica, we have the constitutional monarchy, but we have countries like Guyana, Dominica, and Trinidad and Tobago that are republics. Remember, we say constitutional monarchy, we still have the Queen as head of state, even though full executive authority lies with our Prime Minister. Great. Republics now, they have done away with the monarch, so they're not a queen around them. So, listen to this closely. You see, countries that are constitutional monarchy, their final appeal court is in England, right? And that appeal court is called the Privy Council. That's the final appeal court. So that's the final place that a defendant can go for an appeal. Anything after that don't exist. So countries with constitutional monarchy, their final court is the Court of Appeal. Their final appeal court is the Privy Council in England. Countries who are constitutional monarchies, their final court of appeal is the Privy Council in England. Countries who are republics, their final court of appeal is the Caribbean Court of Justice. Let's go one more time. One more time. Are you ready, guys? Countries that are constitutional monarchies, their final court of appeal is the Privy Council in England. Countries that are republics, their final court of appeal is the Caribbean Court of Justice. Good. We in Jamaica, we also use the Caribbean Court of Justice, but not for appeal proceedings. We use it for trade purposes. Like a couple of years ago when Trinidad didn't want to take our parties, and we have to put them in a them place. If they wanted to continue, we could take them to court. That was the Caribbean Court of Justice. There was this girl that I always use as an example. Lord Jesus, I can't remember what her name was. But she was denied entry into Barbados, right? And she took them to the Caribbean Court of Justice and she won a couple millions, right? Because CSEC says that we are allowed free movement as long as we are CARICOM nationals, and they trampled upon her right to move freely, right? I hope you students are following. So far so good. I hope so far so good enough. No, we're not doing regional integration today, Sabrina. Regional integration is on Thursday. That's on Thursday for regional integration. Right? Let's move now. Countries that are republic: British Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Dominica. Those three countries are republics. All other independent Caribbean states are constitutional monarchies. Following? Great. Let's look now at the functions of government. Tell me some of the things that governments are supposed to be doing. Remember, when we say functions of government, don't tell me what the government in Jamaica is not doing. I want you to tell me the things that a government is expected to do. Same time Thursday at 4 o'clock. Right? Tell me some of the functions of government. I want you guys to tell me. So the government enforces the law. No, the government doesn't enforce law. Remember, we say separation of power prevents that. The government is supposed to protect its citizens. Very good. Vina Paradise. No, sorry, not Vina Paradise. Cancer. So the government protects its citizens. That is why the government has an army and a police force. Very good. So the government should create the atmosphere so that jobs can be created. And the government creates jobs through the public service as well. Alright, so the government creates laws to protect citizens and for citizens to follow. Right, the government is responsible for taxation, social services, infrastructure. Yes. No. The government enforce laws through the police force, stop crime. Yes, very good, Ariana. The government creates a budget because we don't want an irresponsible government that spends our money carelessly. Right? Protect the rights of the citizens, maintain law and order, which is very important. Geranda, building the country, that is too vague, so you wouldn't get any mark for that. Take care of its citizens, Andrew 256, that is too vague. Compliance with the laws, provide amenities. Yeah, that would be the same as social services, right? So it must take care of the aged, right? Must take care of persons who are unable to take care of themselves. Protect citizens, make policies. Yes, Elsie. Very, very, very important because that comes out of the executive. Very good. Provide health care for its citizens. Very good, man. Proper use of resources because we don't want the government to squander our money. You see me? Upholds the constitution. Keelia, brilliant answer, man. No, Keelia, you sound like you get the distinction. Makes policies, makes laws. Foreign diplomacy. No, Javon, man, you come out swinging with the grade 1. Foreign diplomacy, that is very, very important. So the government is responsible for maintaining international relations, because we want, in times of a crisis, if we need money to borrow, if we need aid, we and other countries have good relationships so them can serve us and give a little money and give a little things. You understand? Create employment opportunities, yes. Maintain national security, managing finances. Yes, so most of you guys have the general idea. Defend the nation state. Kiana, that's all like you get it exactly out of one book. Defend the nation state. Yes. Maintain international relations. Yes. So you guys are on the ball. Good. Let's look now at the electoral process. Good. So you know that franchise is the right to vote. Right? The age to vote, which in Jamaica is 18, is what we call universal adult suffrage, right? Electorate now is the people who are responsible for voting. Understand? That is the electorate. Good. The constituency is the area in which the voters are. The constituents are the voters. The candidate is the person who is seeking the vote. I hope you guys are understanding, you know, I'm gonna move fast. Hope me not need a speeding ticket again. Right, but I'm going to save the live so you guys can rewatch it. Good. So there are 2 electoral systems in order to elect a government. The easier one is first past the post system. Somebody said, no, them are right. But remember saying that the live will be up for 24 hours, so you can always rewatch it and pause it and write all the way alright. Good? So there are 2 electoral systems. There is the first past the post system and proportional representation. Yes, I've been teaching this stuff from 2009. Almost 11 years, 10, 11 years now. So I know this information really well. Right? So there are 2 electoral systems. There is the first past the post system, and then there is proportional representation. We're going to run over first past the post quickly so that you guys can get to proportional representation, which is a little bit more difficult. Alright, great. Let's look at this. So right now, this guys, say in country X, right? Remember we said there are 3 candidates. Those are the persons who are running to be elected. So we have John Brown, then we have Mary Jane, and then we have Paul Smith. Good. So that's country X. We have John Brown, Mary Jane, Paul Smith. They are the candidates. Good. And they are running for the constituency of Monarchy. That's the constituency. Remember, country X, John Brown, Mary Jane, Paul Smith running for the constituency of Monarchy. So with first past the post system, right? Candidates seek to represent a constituency. Then the constituents vote for the candidate. At the end of the election, the candidate with the most votes is declared the winner under first past the post system. One more time. Under first past the post system, the entire government, the entire country is divided into constituency. Candidates from each political party seek to represent the constituents in each constituency. Understand that? At the end of the election, the candidate with the most votes is declared the winner. So, write down these statistics. Write down these results. I don't know why I say statistics. Alright? Remember guys, listen now. So, John Brown, at the end of the election in constituency Monarchy, John Brown has 500 votes. Great. Mary Jane has 1,500 votes. Paul Smith has 2,500 votes. Let's go again. John Brown at the end of the election has 500 votes. Mary Jane has 1,500 votes. Paul Smith has 2,500 votes. Under first past the post system, who would we declare as the winner? Under first past the post system, who would we declare as the winner? I want you to post and tell me. Remember, John Brown has 500 votes. Mary Jane has 1,500 votes. Paul Smith has 2,500 votes. So, very good. So, Kia, Omar, yes, British, yes, Boss Girl Beauty, Saini, Wavy, Wavy Kaler. Alright, so guys, you generally have the understanding of first past the post. So usually for the exam, they will give you election results and look upon candidates and constituencies and then use the total number of votes to declare which candidate actually wins. So yes, you guys are correct. So Paul Smith will be declared the winner for the constituency of Moran View because he would have achieved the most votes, which is great. Then now we have another electoral system called proportional representation. This is the problematic one. I need you guys to stop what you are doing and focus on proportional representation. Alright. So under proportional representation, right, the whole country is treated as a single constituency, right? Political parties now prepare a list of candidates based on the number of seats in parliament. The list is put out in order by preference by the party leader and made public. People vote for a party and not a candidate. Each party is awarded seats in parliament based on the proportion of the votes it gains in the election. Good? We know all of that, a heavy information to digest. So let me try and break it down for you so that you guys can have a better understanding of proportional representation. So, unlike yes, first past the post, country is divided into constituency and candidates have to go in there and actually campaign with them political party for the voters to vote for them. Proportional representation, the entire country is seen as one big constituency. So the voters vote for political parties instead of candidates under proportional representation. Good? So at the end of the voting, the seats are distributed based on the percentage of the votes that a particular political party receives. Good? So for example, if one party receives 30% of the votes, then they would get 30% of the seats. If one party receives 50% of the votes, then they will get 50% of the seats. Right? Yes. Let's go into some statistics now so that you guys can better understand proportional representation. So under proportional representation, alright, right now, oh, the video paused a while ago due to poor connection. I hope you guys are still seeing. I hope you guys are seeing. Hello, Trap Zone, whoever is Trap Zone, because a person says, sir, what's up? But I don't know who is Trap Zone. Alright, we only have like 10 minutes to go. So let's do some statistics for proportional representation. Good? So we have People's Political Party. That's one political party. Then we have Black Conscious Political Party. Then we have Red Zone Political Party. Great. So we have 3 political parties. Right? People's Political Party. We have Black Conscious Political Party. And we have Red Zone Political Party. Good. So the voters go out and vote now. So the voter based on preference would either vote for People's Political Party, Black Conscious Political Party, or the Red Zone Political Party. Great. So at the end of the day now, when the ballots have been cast and the voting is closed, when they add up all the numbers for each political party, Great. Are we following? Good. So, People's Political Party would have gotten 50% of the votes. Black Conscious Political Party would have gotten 30% of the votes. And Red Zone Political Party would have gotten 20% of the votes. Right? Yes, proportional representation provides the opportunity for third parties to exist, while first past the post doesn't give that opportunity. So let's write down the figures again. People's Political Party gets 50% of the votes. Black Conscious Political Party gets 30% of the votes. Red Zone Political Party gets 20% of the votes. So at the end of the day, one more time, People's Political Party gets 50% of the votes. Black Conscious gets 30%. Red Zone gets 20%. Under proportional representation, the seats are distributed based on the percentage of the votes that each political party receives. So, for example, if there are 10 seats, I want you guys to tell me how much seat each party would get. So, there are 10 seats. So, if People's Political Party got 50% of the votes, how many seats would People's Political Party receive? Tell me. Yes, Dajan and Princess, you are correct. Shanette Moody, correct. Yes, sir. You got the general idea. 5 seats. So People's Political Party will get 5 seats because they got 50% of the votes, and 50% of 10 is 5. Good. So Black Conscious Political Party got 30% of the seats. How many seats would be awarded to Black Conscious Party if they got 30% of the seats? Tell me about Black Conscious Party now. How many seats would they get if they got 30% of the seats? Very good. So, Cancer, very good. Kareem says 3. Shireen says 3. That's very good. 3, right, very good. So, they got 30% of the votes, so they got 3 seats, which is very good. Red Zone Political Party now got... Sorry about that, I got a phone call a while ago. So Red Zone now, Red Zone Political Party, they got 20% of the seats. So they would get 2 seats. So some of you guys are getting the understanding of proportional representation. So one more time, under proportional representation, the entire country is seen as one constituency, and the voters or constituents vote for political parties and not candidates. At the end of the election, the votes are tallied, and then the seats are distributed based on the percentage of the votes that a particular political party receives. So if one political party gets 50% of the votes, then they will get 50% of the seats. If they get 70% of the votes, then they will get 70% of the seats. Alright, proportional representation allows third party to thrive. So under this system now, we see that 3 political parties will have seats in parliament. So this now can be an advantage and a disadvantage. Here, out of this, we can have coalition governments. Great. So because Black Conscious has 3 seats, Red Zone has 2, People's Political Parties have 5, Black Conscious can always team up with Red Zone and get 5 seats to Black People's Political Party. Then now they would have to have a new election. Understand? Or if they were under constitutional monarchy, the Governor General could break the tie. Understand? Black Conscious Party can join with People's Political Party that has 5 seats and make it into 8 seats overall and have a stronger government and a weaker opposition. Right? So that is called a coalition government. So 2 political parties working together to form a government. Are we understanding, ladies and gentlemen? This is a mouthful, you know. Good. Let's look now at how... Yes, so coalition is 2 political parties coming together. So let's look now at how political parties prepare for an election. We have 10 minutes. We can wrap up this in 10 minutes. So how a political party prepares for an election. First of all, the political party must identify what are the important issues. Good, because the important issues are what are going to be the talking points when they are actually out there campaigning or creating their manifesto, which you soon get into. Good, so the political party must know the important issues. Yes, they must select their candidate. They must raise funds. Diamond Rain Seminar PR no mind. Remember that a whole heap of 100 odd people are commenting on Diamond. I'm not going to say all the comments. You understand? The political party must present a manifesto. This is a document with all their plans that they would want to achieve, right? Right? They must monitor the political party that is in power, right? Because all the mistakes that the former government made, the campaigning rival parties are going to highlight those mistakes and say what they would have done better or what the government should have done, right? Very good. They should monitor the electoral process, yes, to ensure that it is free and fair and not chicken business now go on. Them not pad no ballot box by voting for one political party, or they're not forcing people to vote, or them not dash up people vote, or they're not influencing on the day of election people in the ballot area what to vote, right? Identify important issues. Yes, we said that already. Right? They must also do fundraising, which is very important, because without money, you can't run a campaign, you can't go publish manifesto, because you have to pay editors for fix it up nice, even if it is going to be online. Understand that? Great. We're moving fast, right? Are there any questions? We still have 5 minutes. I don't want to go to what influences the outcome of the election, what influences voter participation, because we're not going to have the time for that. Commission public, yes, commission public opinion polls to see what the public is saying and which direction the public is swaying into, right? They must understand the issues that the public are being faced with or what the public is upset about, so them can say them are going to address it. Chop. No, chop easy, man. Any questions? Are there any questions? Because we still have a few minutes. Proportional representation, Diamond Rain. This is when the entire country is seen as one constituency. Constituents or voters vote for political parties. They vote directly for the political parties. So when they're at the polling station, then put them X beside the name or symbol of a political party. At the end of the election, them add up all of the votes. Then now the seats are distributed based on the percentage of the votes that each political party receives. So if one political party gets 50% of the overall votes, then they get 50% of the overall seats. If they get 40% of the overall votes, then they get 40% of the overall seats. Right? Yes, Darian, you have to get the distinction. The next class is on Thursday at 4. And that's on regional integration. We're going to skip resources for another day because I already asked the teacher to come on Thursday at 4 to the regional integration. Right? Any more questions? Who is a floating voter? Is a voter that is not aligned to any political party. That voter votes based on how they feel, what is important to them, or any political party can sway them to vote for them. Why I don't have class for 2 hours? Because after talking for 1 hour straight and explaining so many things, you become very tired. Yes, you have to pass it, Dino. The fall not chill. Yes, my neighbor have fall over there and they will make nice. Human resource. Yes, human and physical resource is easy. Now the rest of government, man. What influences the outcome of elections?